in our communities doing the things that we need to do. And now we are going to come back, you know what I'm saying, and spread all this knowledge and share with you. So I'm going to try to get her in here. For some reason, Nexus, it's not allowing me to add you. So send that request. I never want to offend the people that I love, but at the same time, we all live in this world together. You know, we all need to learn how to respect one another's spaces, how we do things, and the only way for us to do that is if we have safe follows. So I'm giving my thoughts, so shall she, and hope because, you know, I love everyone. I have some type of overspilling because my biggest thing is about you. And, you know, I personally do not care about never want to offend bedroom that I love. Me, and to be quite honest, it does not help us, you know what I'm saying, to figure out how we.
Peace, love, divine light, everybody. Good evening. I'm great. Good to be here.
Well, yes, it's been a while. I have not seen you since my wonderful trip, buddy Joe. I'm just with you.
Right.
So how
I've been great. Things have been going well. Like a whole lot of progressive things happening, you know, with lame voices, my son and baseball, things of that nature, you know. So overall, everything is good though. Like, yeah. Yeah, let's go. Let me turn you up. Okay, all right. All right, so pretty much we know that the whole month of June has pretty much been dedicated to Pride Month, right? Pride awareness, Pride celebration, Pride embracing, you know, education, the whole nine, you know. And so I did a show on Voices Radio last week about, you know, the LGBT community and kind of just educating our brothers and sisters on what those letters actually stand for, what they mean, what they represent. And then to giving a little ancient African spiritual, you know, insight as into, you know, those brothers and sisters who are, you know, part of the LGBT community in their roles and places historically in our communities as African Americans and in our culture. All right, so knowing and understanding that yes, these type of brothers and sisters have always existed. However, from a spiritual perspective and a spiritual standpoint, this was their role, you know, and pretty much just talking about how over time and how, you know, in the 21st century, the age in which we live in right now, how this particular sexual energy, if you will, for or these particular types of sexual beings have in a way been exploited, you know what I'm saying, and how it's been taken and made to be into kind of almost like for lack of better terms right now, like a freak show type deal, you know, and not to say they shouldn't have their own celebrations, you know what I'm saying, and times when they come together and they unite, you know, like witches and other people and black people and, you know, Jews and people of all different beliefs and all different spectrums, you know what I'm saying, come together in unity and celebration to raise awareness or to fight for whatever cause they feel is near and dear to them, you know. So not to exclude that, but just to shine light and, you know, kind of awaken our people to knowing like, yes, they existed. However, again, like we were saying, what they were doing in their bedrooms wasn't anybody's business. And whether you're heterosexual or homosexual, it shouldn't matter what you're doing in your bedroom, because those type of things are supposed to be sacred anyway. You know what I'm saying? To a certain degree. And so even when we looked at it from a historical standpoint, it's like these beings weren't necessarily caught up in their feelings. And it's something that we've lost touch with, is even knowing ourselves, right? So when we know ourselves and we know who we are, historically that kind of gets passed down, but it's been a disconnect in information, and so now we're back in this information age and we're starting to reawaken and things of that nature and find ourselves in our places. And so what we're kind of seeing right now is this major wave of individuals who have a place, have a purpose, more so than just in the physical, but trying to connect with that on a spiritual level. And in a world, in society where now they've become these outcasts and they've been demonized, you know what I'm saying, if you will, to a degree. And so that's a part of the reason why we see some of the out lavish lifestyles in them being what we like to call extra and over dramatic, and putting certain emphasis on certain motions and movements or words, like over dramatizing and bringing a certain level of attention, because they're trying to find that place where they belong and to be accepted and to be loved just like everybody else, regardless of their sexuality. And so I even encouraged us as heterosexual beings, to consider taking breaks or fast from sexual engagement and sexual intercourse, and actually learning to channel those feelings and emotions into other things, you know what I'm saying? And seeing that manifestation happen. Okay, I know what just happened. All right, so my tablet died on that side. However, I'm about to pull this up and see if I can't get added in over here. All right, so my apologies.
Okay, I'm thinking there's something going on with what happened to me on Facebook, but when we get her back, I totally agree with what she is saying. You know, it's back.
Okay, I'm back.
Okay.
All right. Is it an echo? If it's not one thing, it's another. I do have headphones. Okay, I'm gonna get my headphones and I'm coming back.
No problem.
Ah, fudge pops. I don't have headphones. Are your earbuds charged? I don't have earbuds. Mm-hmm. All right, y'all, bear with me. Trying to get these headphones going. See what I can make. Shake. All right, so again, my apologies. We connected. So let's see. Okay, can you hear me? You can't hear me? You can't hear me? Oh my goodness. All right, how about, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? No? Oh, I'm sorry, you can't hear me. 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing. Still can't hear me? Okay, let's see. Okay, I'm gonna leave out and come back because you still can't hear me. Okay, so let's see if I can't get on this way.
Okay, she's gonna try this again. Y'all gonna get this work regardless. I appreciate y'all giving us some time and energy. Bear with us. Yeah, these electronics. But yeah, like I was saying, and do what they do and not ridicule them or attack them. You know what I'm saying? They probably wouldn't, you know what I'm saying, want to be all flamboyant, because a lot of times that's what the big issue is. A lot of people say that they don't mind, you know, what people do, but it's just so flamboyant, it's in your face. Well, here's the thing. Content in it. Now, is sex bad? No, it's not. You know what I'm saying? It's the ritual which brings life. But because we are so highly sexualized, it's all over the place. But, you know, and people have issues about it, but that's not stopping, you know what I'm saying, the sex industry from being exposed. Now, you know, you have cartoons that have, you know, sexual content in it. You know what I mean? They have songs, music is highly sexualized. It's not cool for kids to listen to it or be exposed to it, but they are. So it's the same thing. You know what I'm saying? People are going to have homosexual lives, whatever. They're allowed to do that. If you don't want your children exposed to that, if that's not the type of lifestyle you want your children to be around, then you set those boundaries in your home. But your children are going to live in this world with all types of things and people. You don't get to tell somebody else that they don't get to express themselves. That's not fair. You know what I'm saying? Now we're going to get into, you know how this works, as far, at least I have done a little bit of research about hormones and
Bluetooth connected.
That's our culture. That's how our hair naturally grows. That's who we are. So why is that? That not to say I don't really use other people's relationships as goals because at the end of the day, everybody's different. You know what I'm saying? And whatever frequency they're on, they're meshing together, and that's why it's working for them. But say I respect, you know what I'm saying, certain relationships. There's certain, entities in that relationship that I definitely would want. And out of my top 5, 2 of those relationships are lesbian. You know what I'm saying? One is a marriage and one is a long term. That's our culture. That's how our hair now.
Okay, so for whatever reason, every time I go to connect to my speakers or my headphones, as soon as I get ready to join the chat, it disconnects me. And are you still hearing the echo?
Let me see. Yes.
Yeah. So my headphones and the speaker, every time I connect to it, you're getting no volume on your side. Even though I can hear you, you can't hear me.
Okay. Okay, so how we do this, as I'm talking, a second later, I'm repeating myself, and I'm sure that's going to be crazy for them.
Right.
So, what were you on before? Because when you first started, it was great.
Yeah, I was on my tablet. It died.
You can't put that thing on a charger or something?
I have it on the charger right now. And it was on the charger when we were talking, but for whatever reason, it's still powered off on me. So, thank y'all. I'm sorry. It's always my technology. I don't think, technology is just like my friend for real. I don't think the tech gods like.
Well, I can tell you what. I can give my portion and my thoughts, and we can do this tomorrow morning to do your thoughts.
Okay.
So we can still have this alive. Because
right. Okay. So is 9 a.m. in the morning?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
So if this comes on, let's see how much juice it has right now. But yeah, so otherwise 9 a.m. in the morning if this tablet doesn't get its life together.
Okay. And if I'm still going and it's charged and you want to try to chime on there, do that too.
Okay, sounds like a winner.
All right. Love y'all, and I'm going to hold down the fort.
All right. Peace, love, divine light.
Peace. That's how our hair naturally grows.
So the tablet died on me. I don't know. Might have to relocate.
I don't think it's the transgender, part of, this community. Now, again, you have a right to feel how you feel. I don't know what it feels like to be born and feel that I am not myself. So I cannot by any means say that I understand what they go through. I do not know what that feels like. I was born, I have my insecurities about who I am, but I've always known who I was. So I don't know what it feels like to be someone else trapped into another body. That's how, that has been explained to me when I've spoken to, people, with that lifestyle. So I feel like that's traumatizing in itself. That has to be, what's the word I'm looking for? I can't think of a word right now, but I can't imagine feeling that way. Just going through life regular, trying to find out who you are. We all go through that stage trying to figure out what it is your purpose is and who you are. Then to have to identify that sexually, like you were born a man, but you feel like a woman and vice versa. I don't know how I would handle that. So, this is why I don't blame, again, for how people express themselves, at the end of the day. But when it comes down to being a transgender, it's a little bit different than, just the L and the G and the B part of it. Because when you're talking about being a transgender, now you're switching your sex. So now how you relate to other people is different. Like, for instance, there was this track, there was this this track contest. I think it was long running. I'm not sure exactly what it was, but there was a transgender woman in there, and she was going against regular women. So of course she won. Because technically and physically, she is still a man. So this is why, they have women's leagues and men's leagues, because physically men and women are not the same. Men physically are born stronger. That's just an organic, natural fact. That's nature. Men were born, stronger for whatever that reason may be. So therefore, that's why you have the WNBA and the NBA. This is why they separate women and men, when you're talking about the Olympics and all of that. Even in school, you have your girls' team and your boys' team for that specific reason. So if you're a transgender, if you're a man who feels like you're supposed to be a woman, I understand that you're feeling, but physically you are still a man. Mm-hmm. So it isn't fair for you to be able to compete with other women, because 9.5 times out of 10, you're going to win, because naturally and physically you are stronger. It's not equal. It's not a fair shot. So these are the little things, that I would say that would be an issue. I would not feel comfortable if I was one of those women in that race. I done trained mad hard, put years in and all of that stuff. And all it takes is a man to feel like they're a woman and they can be a part of this and just go for the win. Like, that's not fair. I don't believe that is fair. And then also in the situation when you're talking about the restroom, there was a big controversy about, transgenders being able to use the bathroom with the sex that they identify with. I personally have an issue with that, because again, you're trying to figure out who you are. So what if, who's to say that one day that you realize or you feel as if you are the sex that you were born in? So what if you have the right to switch that up, but you've been using the women's bathroom. As a woman, I don't feel comfortable using the bathroom in front of a man that's not mine. So again, you want, you want to be represented and you want to be respected, but you also now have to respect others. You need to respect the fact that I'm a heterosexual, that I don't feel comfortable, using the restroom and things of that nature with a man present. Even in the situation with the, with the sports team, you're going to be in the locker room with other women who are going to have their breast out or are in their panties and things of that nature. And we are taught, and how we feel is that we're not supposed to undress and do that in front of a man. So where's the compromise in that? Those are the things that, that I feel like needs to be talked about, and there needs to be a compromise made. Because again, like I said, you were born a certain way, you feel differently about that. But what if you get to change your mind? See, you don't know that. You didn't know that you was going to be born feeling this way. So how do you know that those feelings may not change? Like, again, I don't live that lifestyle. I don't have those feelings. So I can't say if it's going to stick or not. What if it does change? I have heard of cases, because like with women, there's a lot of women who just experiment. I'm in college and I want to go wild and, do whatever. I want to kiss a girl and, all of that stuff. But in their heart of hearts, they like men. That's their preference. But they got to dibble and dabble and figure that out. And then made a decision when they got older. So what happens if you dibble and dabble, but then you feel differently later? Mm-hmm. How does that affect the people around you? The industries that you want to be in? We don't think about stuff like that because, again, and this is partially, I feel, our fault because we don't allow them to live their lives and do what they do. They are now want to flood, every outlet, with their lifestyle to let us know, damn it, we're here and we're not going nowhere. So again, it's down to respect and understanding. I think everybody would respect each other's boundaries if we, if that was reciprocated. So I think those are the things, that need to be addressed, or like I said, have a compromise with them. Now I'm going to talk about science. Again, when it comes down to feelings and how you want to live your life, all of that is relative. I told you there's absolute reality and there's relative reality. Relative reality is yours. It's how you see your life, your perspective. An example, I lost my arm, somebody else lost their arm. I took this and motivated myself and, and made me great. Someone else can take this and this can break them. Same reality. We both lost an arm, but our perspective on it is different. That's what makes it relative. Mm-hmm. Your reality is your reality. Can't nobody take that from you. Can't nobody say what your reality is. But then you have absolute reality. That means that it goes for everybody. No one is exempt. If you're a human being, you breathe oxygen. I don't care who you're having sex with. I don't care who you pray to. You have to breathe the same oxygen that I do. That is an absolute reality. Period. We need trees for that very purpose because that's where we get it from. No one is exempt from that. It's absolute. So when you're talking about absolute in this situation, we're talking about yin and yang, balancement, ma'at, as we call it. To give forth life, you need a man and a woman. Don't care how you feel about that. That is a fact. That is why, living a homosexual lifestyle is not considered balancement when you're talking about nature. You don't have to agree, but it is still a fact. Mm-hmm. Then when you think about it, how does one, you know what I'm saying, if we're all born and all that, what governs your feelings? Why do we feel the way we feel? Why do we find men attractive? And outside the fact that that's what we're taught, but why do you're attracted to the person that you're attracted to? What governs that? Those are your hormones. Your hormones govern, you know what I'm saying, your feelings. And sometimes in that, your behavior. So I did some research. I had looked up hormones. Because growing up, when my mom first got into consciousness, you know what I'm saying, her husband was, teaching us different things, especially about our diets. He definitely switched up, stopped eating pork. My mom stopped making me drink cow's milk, things of that nature. And a lot of these things have a lot of hormones in them. Like milk, especially whole milk, it's homogenized. So they've been pumping all types of hormones into that milk, and that is a staple, you know what I'm saying, in the Black home, you know what I'm saying, especially if you live in a project, if you live in a low income, you know what I'm saying, situation, that is, whole milk is a staple in your diet. I remember distinctly, my mom and I talking about it. That's why a lot of boys grow up, you know what I'm saying, they got titties. Because all that milk they're drinking. Well, since they're homogenizing this stuff, and that deals with your hormones, so wouldn't you think that can change? Because we're chemical people. We're made of chemicals.
Okay,
so when you're mixing chemicals with other chemicals, you come up with shit.
Get back in here and join.
So I read this. I Googled on it, and it says, how do hormones affect behavior? Whole milk is a staple in your diet. I remember distinctly.
You don't see what happens.
That's why a lot of boys grow up, you know what I'm saying, they got titties. Because all that milk they're drinking. Well, since they're homogenizing this stuff, and that deals with your hormones, so wouldn't you think that can change? Because we're chemical people. We're made of chemicals. So when you're mixing chemicals with other chemicals, you come up with shit. So I read this, I Googled on it, and it says, how do hormones affect behavior? And I found this study from the University of Ohio. And it says hormones and behavior. The goal of this module is to introduce you to the topic of hormones and behavior. Hormones are chemical messengers released from endocrine glands that travel through the blood system to influence the nervous system, to regulate behaviors such as aggression, mating, and parenting of individuals. Okay, so right here, it says that the way your hormones are set up can ultimately control how aggressive you are, can control how you choose to mate, how you parent, you know what I'm saying, an individual. So your hormones have a direct, you know what I'm saying, effect on that. So something else also says hormonal and neural messages are both chemical in nature. They are released and received by cells in a similar manner. However, they are important in differences as well. It says another distinction between neural and hormonal communication is the degree of voluntary control that can be exerted over their functioning. In general, there is more voluntary control of neural than of hormonal signals. It is virtually impossible to will a change in your thyroid hormone levels, for example, whereas moving your limbs and command and easy. So pretty much what I got from that is that, your neurological, connections are more voluntary than your hormonal communication. So you don't get to really choose how that works. It's not voluntary when it comes down to your hormones. So technically, how you feel sexually and things is not voluntary. It kind of just happens, according to what this is saying. So, if your parent is, has a diet full of hormones, if your parent is feeding you foods with mad hormones, wouldn't you think that you could have a hormonal imbalancement, which can also saying, we need to take into consideration. Also, your lifestyle, things that happen to you, your traumas. I know several women, you know what I'm saying, who became, you know what I'm saying, homosexual because they were raped. A man violated them. So therefore, that just snatched away, you know what I'm saying, all of their feelings, you know what I'm saying, where men are concerned. They have been traumatized. So now they could never seek love, you know what I'm saying, from the opposite sex because the opposite sex violated them. See how that works? Being exposed to, as a child, to that type of lifestyle can also, you know what I'm saying, be a reason why, you know what I'm saying, someone feels like they want to do that. If it's an option, why not? So there are several different, you know what I'm saying, avenues that you can take or to think, you know, perspectives of this. You know what I'm saying? And I think we need to explore them all. But at the end of the day, we all live here. You can disagree with, you know what I'm saying, someone's lifestyle all you want to, but at the end of the day, we still all live together on this earth. Homosexuals have been there since the beginning of time. There's a climate for everything. It's saying we need to do our research. It says, you know, how do hormones affect behavior? And I found this study from, think they got ancestors? I'm just saying. So we need to learn how to compromise. We need to learn how to understand people. Like, just like when I had made the comment about what people was saying about Nipsey Hussle's mother in her speech, or, you know what I'm saying, her prayer at the BET Awards. You know what I'm saying? We as humans fear what they don't understand, and we hate what we fear. And that's a problem. Because at the end of the day, if you don't understand something, you shouldn't comment on it. You shouldn't actually have a feeling about anything that you don't understand. Because at the end of the day, we are still humans. We all have those 206 bones. We all have lungs, a liver, an esophagus, a brain, 2 eyes, 2 ears, nostrils. At the end of the day, you all got to pay taxes. At the end of the day, we should deal with people on how they treat us, not on what they do in their personal lives. Again, you don't have to agree. You do not have to agree with what people do. But you need to respect, you know what I'm saying, that everyone has a right to do what it is that they want to do. And that goes both ways. We need to let folks live their lives, and they need to let us live ours the way we want to as well. I feel like we should not insert our heterosexualness with them, and they shouldn't push their homosexuality onto us. Everybody should have their own lane to do what they do, to express themselves, you know what I'm saying, to live their lives, you know what I mean, and be happy because they're here for a purpose. Everybody has a purpose, right? That's not exempt because you don't like someone's sexuality. It's not how that works. So I think we need to get this together. I know a lot of folks is not feeling this, you know what I'm saying, and I can dig all that. But again, put yourself in other people's shoes. How would you want to be treated? You know what I'm saying? For the way you are, the way that you do things, your lifestyle. Don't you feel like you should be represented and respected? Don't you feel that way? So what makes you think that that doesn't go for the next person? We have to do better on both sides. To all my LGBTQ folks,
LGBTQ.
you know what I'm saying? I want y'all to have y'all representation, do what y'all do. But y'all need to compromise with us as well. You know what I'm saying? Have your shows, have your, you know what I'm saying, have your month, Have whatever it is that you got going on. Do that. Like I said, I have several people that I love and I care about. You know what I'm saying? That live this lifestyle. I have been to Pride at least 3 times in my life, and I enjoyed myself every time I was there. Here's another thing. I was respected in that space. Like, I don't know, I've been to the prides in Atlanta. So how they do it in the parks, at least the last time that I went, it's just like any other fair or parade type situation. You know what I'm saying? Vendors pretty much have the whole park, lit. What they do have, they have these balloon people that are out there. Excuse me, and they make these little hat balloons. You know how the clown comes to your child's birthday party and takes the balloons and makes shapes out of them or whatever. Okay, so every time that I go, they have it where, because there are straight people such as myself who, still support, people and, doing what they do. So they make these hats that are shaped like penises. I'm gonna just say that. Okay, so pretty much I'm walking around with a dick on my head. But it's supposed to be a representation of me, being heterosexual, but I'm here. So that's supposed to be my tag, my heterosexual tag, or whatever. I've been to several, I've been to a lesbian club, I've been to an all gay club, I've been to a club where both of them parlay, I've been to them all. And they're the happiest people in the world. They know how to turn up, they know how to have fun, they're cool as shit. And I've been respected. All that, but not everyone does that. So you have to be respectful, of our lifestyle too. All about respect. That is the only way that this stops being an issue. Because it's a big thing. Everybody talks about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have family members, who want to express themselves and be them, and they have to worry about, people calling them names or, being mad extra. And I'm talking about children. At the end of the day, as long as you're a good person,
and I know she got the request, y'all.
That's all that matters.
To add me in the group.
If I ever have children, that may not be the lifestyle that I might personally want them, to live. I'm all about I'm all about balancement. But at the same time, if that's what my children choose, I'm going to support the fuck out of them because those are my kids. I gave birth to them. I had something to do with that. Whatever it may be. So, you know what I'm saying? So I'm going to instill in my children what I want, what I feel is important for them. And if they decide to do something else, by all means, do your thing. I'm sure that I do things right now that my mama doesn't agree with. But I'm her daughter, and she's going to support me. And if she does, and if she's not cool with the situation, she's still going to let me rock and do what I do. Because it's my life. So I think this is a perspective that, that we need to look into, especially in our community. We We have too many things that divide us, and this shouldn't be one of them. Again, at the end of the day, what our people will be upset about is the fact that you are sleeping, you know what I'm saying, with the same sex. And again, what you do in your bedroom has nothing to do with me. If you're not sleeping with me, then I don't care. You don't affect my genitalia. So that's just not important. You know what I'm saying? Are you being a good citizen? You know what I'm saying? Are you being a good human being? Those are the only things that would affect my life with me dealing with you. So I have no say in that. I have no right to even have a voice. And again, what you're doing in your bedroom, who you choose to live your life with and spending and all of that, none of that shit matters. What matters is your deeds, what you do. And this is the crazy part for me, and I think I'm going to end this because I want to get my sister's thoughts on this so we can, come through, because I'm sure she has some feelings about what I'm saying and all that stuff. So I really wish she was here right now. But I just feel like we just need to do better, and we need to stop talking and picking on the things that make us different. We have enough of that. We have enough things to to divide us. We don't need straight up. They're the ones in there busting down a tambourine, killing that shit. You know what I'm saying? They're the ones shouting and, truly, they're the ones who openly, talk about God and how much they love Jesus and all that. But in that religion, their lifestyle is a blasphemy. You're supposed to be going to hell for living that lifestyle. Important. To that. When you take all of that away, you have a vibe. You understand. You can feel. Important at all to that. To that. To that. Who they are is who they are, but they still subscribe. To that religion that pretty much tells them that no matter what they do, no matter how much you praise God, no matter how much you love Him and bring Him into your life, but if you're living that lifestyle, you're doomed to go to hell. This is a fact. Read your Bible. I didn't make that up. So this is why, I just love life. Because that doesn't make sense. These are other things that, that we need to think about. I would have you guys, who live that lifestyle, think about that. You want the world to accept you, but your own walk of life doesn't. You love them and bring them into your life, but if you're living that lifestyle, you're doomed. These are other things that that we need to think about. I would have you guys, who live that lifestyle, think about that. You want the world to accept you, but your own walk of life doesn't. That's something y'all should think about. I love y'all. I absolutely do. You know what I'm saying? People are people. Live your life. Be great. Whatever that is. But we all need to be mindful of who we're around. We need to be mindful, of compromise. I'm not telling you to not be you. There's no way that I can tell you that, because I am me all day. I wear what I want. I say what I want. You know what I'm saying? I do as I feel. You know what I'm saying? What's best for me in my reality. And it doesn't matter what other people's opinion think. Some people are gonna like it, some people aren't. I don't, you know what I'm saying? I don't focus on that at all.
Okay. Can you hear me? Yeah.
Perfect because I've been talking a lot. So now you can pretty much give me your thoughts about what I just said.
All right, so again, peace world. Thank y'all for your patience, your love, time, energy in this space. All right. So if you're just joining us, just tuning in, thank you. This is Divine Feminine Discussions with myself, Nexus, and my sister Plump Queen. All right. So, LGBTQ, transgenders. All right, so I'm gonna pick up right there, because I kind of gave like my feed on the overall concept in their place and being accepted and being able to do, what I'm saying, their own thing at their own leisure because hey, you got the right to do, what I'm saying, you. And about what happens in our bedrooms, like being sacred, and even as heterosexual beings, like that's not anything for us to just be blasting all out willy nilly to the world. And that's something that society, what I'm saying, has made acceptable and okay. Like even when we were growing up, like, and now we have grandparents and great grandparents, and you don't know what was going on in their bedroom. Like if grandpa, grandma was cheating, stepping out, like even with this, like you really didn't know. Like they handled these situations, what I'm saying, without having to have everybody all in their business. So now we have these reality TV shows that just makes it cool, like for everybody to be in everybody's bed and to know what everybody's doing and who everybody's sleeping with and what, like, is, that's a low vibrational plane and low level, operations. So however, I do agree with what you were saying, when it comes to our brothers and sisters who go to the extent of actually making alterations to themselves physically, to make this outer appearance, this physical shell that we, are embodied in, to resemble what they feel or what they think, they should be, and not even really knowing, 100% sure, because a lot of times we see them start to make these changes and go through these processes, like you said, and now we want to revert because, oh, I was acting solely off emotions and feelings and not being logical or not having a certain level of understanding or even knowledge to tap into like the spiritual realm and get outside of this flesh and what we feel, so when it comes to that, like if you wanted to at some point in time, explore other options, like you're taking even that right away from yourself. And so I would say even in that sense, like we're denying and limiting, what I'm saying, what we're able to do as beings and how we naturally came into existence, right? So we all came in these shells that we're in for a reason, regardless of how we feel. Like we were given this particular shell, this particular sleeve, this particular body, what I'm saying, for a purpose, for a reason. Like, and we can say we feel and we view and we know God to be whatever, and universe to be this and ancestors and but still we were given this for a reason. Like, what is that reason? Have we even taken time to learn and to know why, even though we have these feelings of this other gender, what I'm saying, that we actually want to go to the extent of changing and altering that? Like, are we really getting in tune and tapping into ourselves and learning ourselves and why we're having these feelings and emotions? And so the bathroom thing, no. Like you said, you were born a certain way. So genetically, scientifically, you come with certain things. And no, we don't need that, because then that opens the door, for all types of situations. Because now we can have pedophiles and anybody, what I'm saying, just dressing up, rapists and anybody just dressing up and saying, oh, I'm transgender today, what I'm saying? And now, like, it's okay for you to be in these restrooms with these women and these children, but that's not cool, So even when we talk about athletics, because I saw the thing about the transgender woman who was running track. And it's like, okay, I get it. You feel how you feel. You made the change. You want to be accepted. However, you being accepted does not mean we exert you into like these type of things, because that's unfair. You know what I'm saying? It's not right. I would like to know and believe that just because you look a certain way because of how you naturally came here, you can still run with the men. I mean, if you good, you good. You know what I'm saying? If you that good, like why would you even? And what does that say about you and your character? That it's like, oh no, I don't even want to get into that. Like it's just like, what are we doing? Even to the extent when we look at these TV shows, like Orange is the New Black, and it's another one that deals with incarceration, right? But you have these transgender women who are going to these female facilities, but you're a whole man out here. So it's like, well, we know in real time in prison and penitentiaries, like we have brothers who are in there who went in there as men, and on the inside they became transgender. So why would we now create a whole new facility for you so you say you can feel safer? Like it's somebody over there that's gonna protect you, you know what I'm saying? That's gonna look out for you, and you're gonna be good. Like, and then even like the force and understanding each other in the balance, it's like, well, we aren't massively represented, right? Well, you are not the mass majority of the population of the people. Like you make up a smaller percentage of the population, so you wouldn't be, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Don't. Right. And then so this would be the other thing, right? And that's why I kind of talked about it on Voices, because it's a difference in your sexual behaviors, you know what I'm saying? So they say, in your actual orientation or how you view yourself when it comes to that. So it's like this, right? So say for instance, we were talking about the people who explore. Like I go off to college, drunk, high night, stoner stuff, and it's like, oh, I'm gonna make out with me a chick. Like, okay, that don't make me gay or a lesbian, just because I made out with this chick. Like, I just sexually explored, you know what I'm saying, like that realm. And so that would even take me into the conversation, right? That about the post that I made a few weeks ago, where it was talking about the brother being sexually stimulated via penetration of his anus, right? And so scientifically, if we talk from a scientific perspective, we know that our brothers do get a different type of arousal, you know what I'm saying, from that area, because that's where their prostate is, you know what I'm saying? And it's like their G spot. So how they be trying to get us like, where you spat at, girl? Like, it's the same thing for them, and even, we grown people, like this is divine feminine discussions, right? So people engage in all forms of sexual acts. And so even females who receive anal penetration, like they get a certain type of stimulation, a certain type of arousal, you know what I'm saying? So it's not to say like you're just automatically gay or lesbian because you explore your sexual bounds, but it's more about who you specifically choose to be, or who you say you're more sexually and romantically like attracted to. So whereas like for someone like me, I would like to say I'm a sapiosexual, right? So that means like we're stimulated mentally, and it's like, oh, you have to like speak to my mind and my spirit. And if you can do that, then the physical will just be like, bam. But just think about it on a deeper level. Like if I'm saying I'm mentally aroused and stimulated by somebody else's thoughts and mental, or you know what I'm saying, their outlooks and perspectives, then that can be anyone, because this is just a shell that houses, you know what I'm saying, this intellect. So it's like, hold on, what is Nexus saying? Does she like women? Yeah, I think the female anatomy and the female body is beautiful. I'm a female, you know what I'm saying? Nevertheless, I admire the male body in a whole different type of way. You know what I'm saying? So when a male is speaking to my mental, you know what I'm saying, it's like it does something different than if a sister was speaking to my mental. Like, yeah, I can be like, oh yeah, I can kick it with this sister. Like, we can link up, we can connect. Like, yeah. But for a brother, it's like, hold on. Especially like with what I got now, it's like, and you know, but if you come over here, like you really gotta have something going on with your mind and your spirit, and you really gotta be like doing something better than what I got going on right now. You know, so it's like, but yeah, and so when I made that post, right, the question or the caption in the post was, because the image was of a sister with the strap on, you know what I'm saying, penetrating her male mate, and it was like, does this make you gay? I personally say no. You know what I'm saying? For the reasons that I just gave about our sexual organs or this body being able to do different things and us being able to, however, who would know that's going on in your bedroom unless you're posting it on social media or you're going out telling your friends and family members that this is what you're doing in your bedroom. Like, you and your mate, regardless of who it is, should be able to explore, you know what I'm saying, these spaces without even having to question whether or not this is gonna make you gay. Like when our brothers are anally, you know what I'm saying, but when our sisters are receiving this anal penetration, it's like, oh no, bro, cause she like it and it feel good, and that's a woman on the other side. It's an anus though. A booty is a booty, a butt is a butt. Like, cause you know how, look, cause check PLUMP, like historically, what did they have? Like they used to have like the black holes, or what is it, like the little hole in the wall, and the brothers would go and put their Johnsons, their phallus, like in the hole in the slot, not knowing what was on the other side of the wall. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, see, look at your face. But this was actually a thing that people did. You know what I'm saying? If you saw it on a porn, hey, please believe somebody else was doing it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
oral sex. You would have no idea who that person is. You know what I'm saying? If they just didn't touch you and it was just strictly their tongue, or you know what I'm saying, or their mouth, you would not know if that was a man or a woman. It would still feel good because the act of what they're doing is what's making you feel that way, not necessarily who the person is.
right.
So I would always believe that, and as well as a woman, I know my body. So another woman would know how to please me, and vice versa. But what I will say is, from what my 34 years of living on this earth,
Right.
what I know about heterosexual men,
Yeah.
saying that right or wrong, I'm just saying what it is.
Right.
Men,
Yeah. Yeah.
funny about it. Trained to not see that with their ass and sex is gay. That's what they're told. They won't. So, my experience,
Right.
I never met a man that told me that, or I was aware of that. I would absolutely feel that there is a potential for this to be gay, because, like I said, I dealt with it my whole life.
Right. But you got brothers out here who are supermaning, You know what I'm saying? And or on the whole, what is it? Like goodness, I forget the term I was looking for just then. Ah, yeah.
The answer that we're not talking about it being natural or not. What we're talking about is what is. Now, if you want to talk about anus, women also do, have anal sex. You know what I'm saying? So if it's based off the naturalness or waste, yes, as your waste comes out. So yeah, you probably shouldn't be doing that.
Right, because then that would mean that oral sex shouldn't be had either. You know what I'm saying? Because no type of reproductive action can happen from oral stimulation, so nevertheless, what can happen though is because, like earlier I talked about the spirituality and the sacredness of sexual engagement, right? And so if we were engaging spiritually, you know what I'm saying, or from a spiritual standpoint, mind, view, act, like there's power of manifestation in all of that because you're getting a certain type of stimulation, which is energy, right? And so this energy is being like exuded or built up in whatever, you know what I'm saying, we want to call it. So you have the power to manifest certain things through these acts, whether it's orally, you know what I'm saying, anal, vaginal, penile, like whatever we choose to call it, like those things still are energy, you know what I'm saying, generators that have the power to allow us to manifest certain things, so it just depends. Because if we go back and like we were talking about them in their view of like the Bible, right? That's a slave master trace with the oil.
With you saying that, and this is what I mean by perspective and absolute and reality. Do you feel, Calvin, that oral sex stems from slavery and it's something that you don't do? Okay. Now, from my perspective, I love oral sex. Okay. You know what I'm saying? As a matter of fact, it is a natural fact that oral sex is honestly the only way that us women can actually orgasm. You can't make us men. You cannot make us orgasm through penetration. It's through our clitoris that we have, that we get, that we get to get there.
Right.
So you're saying, Calvin, right now, if you're a woman or whoever you're with, is in tune with her body, you'll never ever give her an orgasm because you don't feel like oral sex. You know what I'm saying? You associate that with slavery, and it's something that as a negative thing.
But then that would mean that so then if I'm just presuming, you know what I'm saying, in this situation that my brother is not a selfish being, and that if he's not, you know what I'm saying, on one side and he's not getting either, and so
you know why? Because of that thought process. We're made to think. That's what I'm saying. The way we perceive sex, you know what I'm saying, is a whole. You know what I'm saying? It's really warped.
Right.
First of all, sex is supposed to be a ritual for bringing forth life.
Right.
I can dig it. I can dig you, Calvin. I feel you. I feel all of that.
And bringing forth life, it doesn't. Yeah.
Sex is supposed to be a ritual for reproduction. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, that's what it's supposed to be. We as a society have made it something that we need for pleasure, like we do for pleasurable reasons. You know what I'm saying? So if you were doing it for the ritualistic part of just, you know what I'm saying, manifesting and bringing forth life, you know what I'm saying? That honestly, this wouldn't even be a discussion. No, not true. I never had an orgasm with oral sex. Again, I can't speak about your experiences, but from what I have read, you know what I'm saying, and I have, an actual person who has a PhD, you know what I'm saying, in sexual behavior, it's a natural fact that our orgasm, our G spot is connected with our clitoris. I'm gonna
Right, and that's just like, because that's just like for the male, you know what I'm saying? It's, even though we were talking about like his pancreas, or I mean his prostate, right? You know what I'm saying? Just show me the money, I'll find the buried treasure. That's just like though, but that's like the head or the tip, you know what I'm saying? Like the soft top of the penis. It does the same, you know what I'm saying? It's the same, bruh, like, I'm just saying. Okay.
Different. Your penis is an elongated clitoris, which is why, like she said, it's the tip that is so sensitive, and that's where a lot of your pleasure comes from. And it's the same, pretty much the same organ, but again, one is elongated for you, and ours is in. Same with your testicles. Your testicles are your ovaries, but they're just on the outside of your body, where ours is in the inside. This is why y'all have nipples and we do. But we have a purpose for our nipples. Why do you have nipples? You know what I'm saying? These are supposed to be to feed our babies. That's what breasts are for.
Right.
Have built up.
So it's almost like you're dysfunctional. I ain't gonna say a dysfunctional woman, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, right.
You know what I'm saying? It's clitoris. You know what I'm saying? That stimulation. That's why in certain cultures they try to cut off women's clitorises after they get married, because they don't want them to have any type of sexual feeling for someone else. Again, remember I was talking about hormones? Hormones are involuntary. You don't control those.
Okay, so check. Can I read a quick little snippet from my book? All right, so check. This is what it says, right? So this talks about intimacy, right, in what they call the Ash Circle as it relates to the Dagara people of West Africa. All right, so I'm gonna just read a little bit. So it says, when people recognize that they are spirit in a human body and that other people are spirits, they begin to understand that our bodies are sacred and that sexuality is far more than a means of pleasure. It is a sacred act. They look at other people differently, seeing the body not as a source of physical attraction, but as a shrine. All right, so maybe the way to start on a path to a healthy, intimate life is to recognize the divine in everything. When we acknowledge that the earth we walk upon is not just dirt, that the trees and animals are not just resources for our consumption, then we can begin to accept ourselves as spirits vibrating in unison with all the other spirits around us. Our connections to all these living spirits helps determine the kind of intimate life we live. So the Dagara people believe that when two people share a spirited and balanced, intimate life, they have the power to raise a healing energy for everything around them. For this reason, a couple might dedicate their sacred intimacy to some higher purpose, in addition to the well-being of their own relationship. So it goes on to say that a couple's intimacy is not about the pursuit of pleasure, it is the pursuit of a kind of power that only spirit can give in a sacred context. It's not going to be found on a public road or in a village circle is going to be in the ash. Okay, so it goes on to talk about this ash circle, which is kind of like a ritual, you know what I'm saying, for the sacred act. And so it says that the couple in a sacred space is there because they have first admitted that they don't know what they're doing. Okay, so we'll skip that, but they had teachers, right? So it says but they have teachers, they have guides, you know what I'm saying? Like people in the village, in their tribe, in their community that they can go to for advice, you know what I'm saying? When it comes to intimacy on a sacred level, something that we lack. And I can guess, like, go back to what Brother Calvin was saying, because of slavery, you know, like our perception and what we've learned and what we've been taught, you know what I'm saying?
Don't know me, honey. Like, yo, trust me, I'm good. I'm good over here. Believe me. I'm good over here. But I'm just saying.
So check this though, Plump. Hold on. So if we try to aim at pleasure only, intimacy will be short. You will get finished with it in a short time. If you can look at intimacy as spirit driven and go beyond the limitations of pleasure, then intimacy can have a long lasting effect. It can be life giving and healing. You don't wait until your hormones are taking over, you know what I'm saying, your body in order to bring, you know what I'm saying, like this stuff to your attention. Like, so it does have to do with our hormones and it has to do with us knowing ourselves, like we were saying, more than just on a physical level and seeking pleasure, like in the flesh, like when it comes to these things, but understanding like intimacy and the act of sex, like on a more sacred plane. And so, like, yeah. And, you know, what do we say? There is power in both the yoni and the phallus. I'll just say that much, right? And so when the right ones do collide, though, Joanne, like I was just saying, like there is life changing power and electric healing, like, and not just for themselves, but for their communities, for their families, for the people around them. You know what I'm saying? So we just have to, the whole point on my end, and I'm sure Plump's, and you know what I'm saying, because this is divine feminine discussions, is to just open us up to a different view, a different look on how we've been viewing sex, you know what I'm saying, and how the world has been teaching us to view sex, you know what I'm saying, and so that we can start to think for ourselves and learn better, you know what I'm saying, ways of actually being able to channel our energy so that we're able to reach our highest selves. Because at the end of the day, it's all about elevation and it's all about divine beings being able to come together with solid information for themselves, you know what I'm saying, and using it together to be a magnificent force, you know what I'm saying, so that we can continue to bring about healing, change, and restoration to this world, to this universe, this space that we exist in right now, you know. So I love everybody. It's not natural. Right. 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 We're not doing it, then you should be good. If you're not teaching your kids that, then you should be good. You know what I'm saying? So we should focus on that. Again, like I said, the fact that this was based on pleasure, right. It was created, like you said, to manifest things and bring life. That's what it's supposed to do. Now we're used to it being a pleasure. That's why we do it. Mm-hmm. That's technically Right. And so even like I talked about our brothers and sisters who are gay, lesbian, whatever we choose to, classify them as nowadays. Like historically, they were known in our villages and tribes as gatekeepers. You know what I'm saying? Because they had a higher level of spiritual connection. You know what I'm saying? Between the sexes, and oftentimes they were seen as like the mediators between when it came to relationships. You know what I'm saying? And things of that nature. So they held a very powerful space in our culture and in our existence that we couldn't necessarily handle or deal with because they were able to connect to the spirit realm on a different level than we were able to do. So it's all about balance, duality, like knowing and understanding our purpose. Oh, her ex felt like that too about the anal. So yeah. It wasn't no mistake. Your foot. Your foot. Hey, bro, they lose their mind, like they jump out their whole skin. Like, bro, like seriously, it'd be like if you even don't be playing with. I love Joanne, man. Joanne is off the chisel. Off the chisel. I turned out a few. I love it. I love it. Okay. Bring out the whips and chains and the leather ropes and all of that, you know? Right. Right.
saying? You know what I mean? So we keep that spice going. It's what we do. You know what I mean? So again, but that's none of y'all business. So, you know what I'm saying? I don't need to, you know what I'm saying, disclose all that, you know what I mean? So you don't need to know those things.
Right.
Because that doesn't affect you. What I'm doing in my bedroom does not affect you. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So I feel you.
But this is what I am gonna say. You know what I'm saying? But when what we do in our bedroom can affect other people is when we choose, you know what I'm saying, to be dishonest and disloyal. And so like today y'all might have saw, and I'm just gonna throw this little plug in there real quick, plump. Like, and cause we again we all have our views and perspectives, you know what I'm saying, even when we come like to what I'm about to mention right now is HIV, right? And knowing and understanding that regardless of how we feel about it or what we know to be true about it, like it exists. It's in our community, like it's spreading rapid, you know what I'm saying? And there are all types of new things coming up around and about it. However, today was National HIV/AIDS Testing Day. All right, so all I'm saying is I just encourage us as melanated people to make sure that we're going and we're getting tested. You know what I'm saying? That we know our status and that we're taking the necessary precautions to prevent this from happening, even if it's just something as simple as us changing and altering our diets and lifestyles, you know what I'm saying, to make sure that our immune systems are in a high healthy state to be able to combat and fight off these things when we come in contact with them, you know. So just keep that in mind, because if they can tell me that they have a thing now on TV, I forget the name, the official name of the pill, but the prep, which is supposed to you take it to prevent actual infection, but you're telling my people that there's not a cure for this thing when we know better. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I'm walking a thin line even when I be talking about this stuff like on the air. Nevertheless, just know like we're smarter than that, you know, and truth heals. And we have the tools and resources available to heal ourselves. All right. So don't just fall for the okey doke. All right. Like, let's take care of ourselves. Let's heal ourselves. Even if we are in these heterosexual or homosexual relationships, like let's do our best to minimize our partners, be open and honest, you know, with the partner or partners that we do have about what it is that we're doing so that they can do what they need to do for themselves as well, you know. So at the end of the day, it's all about having healthy communication, having healthy discussions and conversations, you know what I'm saying, so that we can go forward and continue to be healthy individuals and healthy beings so that our families and our communities can do the same. Because I mean, it's a war going on, and we already know who the target is, and it's no need for us to continue to say it. So it's time for us to arm ourselves and do what we need to do for ourselves because nobody else is going to do it.
Well, I have 2 points that popped up with you saying that. My first point is I don't like the fact that when we talk about homosexuality, the first thing that comes to our mind is HIV, because it has been said, it has been put on their community that they're the reason why this is going on, and that's not a fact. The fact is it was made in a laboratory, you know what I'm saying, and it was distributed. It has nothing to do, again, because like I was saying earlier, heterosexuals have anal sex too. So if you go and if that's the only way that you connect, homosexuality with that is because that's the way that they have sex. Well, we do it too. So it has nothing to do with you being homosexual. As a matter of fact, what's that guy? What's that Tamu dude that was going around giving people HIV?
The porn star.
Yeah, no, he's not even a porn star. What was this man's name? Charlie Sheen.
Oh yeah,
Whole heterosexual.
winning, but he team winning though.
Right, exactly. So he was going around, infecting people. So we don't need to associate. HIV is a cute, is a societal issue. You know what I'm saying? It has nothing to do with your sexuality. It doesn't matter who you sleep with, you catch that shit.
Right, especially when you look at the statistics and you look at the numbers, the data, you know, since we want to be all scientific. Like African American women, and more specifically heterosexual African American women, are number one, you know what I'm saying, for infections. So what does that say? And then, and on top of that, when you add in the factors that they say that we are the most cautious, you know what I'm saying, and the most preactive when it comes to our health and our sexual health. So what I ain't gonna get into my little theories, you know what I'm saying? Because, Nexus is a whole conspiracist out here. But and now we got kids and the kids, and we gonna. Well, you did a little bit about the alternate and relative realities, like. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, like what is that about? Like they get a kick out of tricking people. Right. But see, and then this is the thing, right? Like, I even saw, I forget what TV show I was watching, but like them and like they other transgender friends, like they get a kick out of, like, it's almost like a competition, you know what I'm saying, to see how many people they can go out to the club, you know what I'm saying, and trick, you know what I'm saying, into sleeping with them, or just, you know what I'm saying, whatever the case may be. And it's like, but then, like you said, if this person was to spaz out on you, and when these people do spaz out on you, you know what I'm saying, because they find out what you really are and who you really are, and that you were deceitful in deceit, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's malicious, yo. Like, that's some ill intent. Like, that's premeditated. And so if this man decides to whoop your ass, like, you know what I'm saying, like, how you gonna be mad with that when you naturally a man? So you might as well just put your dukes up, you know what I'm saying, and square off, because you dead wrong, yo. Like when we talk about what is being what is, like facts, yo, like you're wrong for that. Like you shouldn't be out here doing that and then want to say, oh well, we're people too, and we deserve to have rights, and you know what I'm saying? No, yeah, we are all people and we all have rights and we should disclose. You know what I'm saying? That's no different than our HIV status or whatever the case may be. We should disclose that to our partners like in advance and not be on some misleading type stuff like be honest with yourself. And it goes back to say, are you even 100% comfortable with yourself as a transgender person? You know what I'm saying? Like you did all of this and you went through all of these changes to still not be 100 with yourself?
And here's the thing. This is not even a transgender problem. This is a problem of people's problem with your insecurities about yourself. Women do this all the time. We get women knowing that we don't like certain things, but because when we feel like we need to have a man, or we want somebody to love us, we'll compromise on what it is we like or dislike just to be with somebody. And like I tell them, you don't want to be with nobody that doesn't want to be with you. Again, my example, I don't want to be with anyone that's not going to love me for the way that I am, one arm and all. You don't love
right.
me like that. I don't need you in my life.
And I would say, I would, yeah.
You should be with someone who loves you for you. And all of your transformation and all that stuff. That person should, that's the type of love that you want. You don't want to trick nobody into loving you because it's not real. They're in love with the production that you made, not who you are. So that's going to fail anyway. Because you're not being, I don't understand Pete, this human being. Why would you want to be with someone that doesn't want to be with you? I say this about married couples. Women marry men that they know don't love them. You know, damn sure that man don't want to be with you, but you got to get that locked in. Why?
Because it goes back to what we were saying about not knowing yourself, not being honest with yourself, and then too the whole feelings and emotions part. You know, so it's like we gotta stop operating so much out of feelings and emotions and having sex for pleasure, because then we end up, you know, tricking people into having babies, like so they can be in our lives and we can be in relationships with them. And it's like men trap women into having babies just like men feel like women trap them into having babies. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, yo, it's okay to be by yourself. Like, once we can learn to operate solo dolo without anybody else, and that doesn't mean that you're just so independent, you don't need anybody else. You know what I'm saying? But when you truly learn the beauty and value, the essence of being with yourself and knowing yourself, you know what I'm saying? Then we'll just be like, okay, I'm cool. When they come, they come. If they come, they come. Maybe it ain't even this lifetime when they come, and I'm chilling right now. You know what I'm saying? And when they get here, I'll be ready because I'm working on me. Like you should always be your number one project.
Right?
Yeah.
We don't do that. We, especially for women, we truly base our happiness, our worth on the relationship that if we, so many successful women that feel like because they're not married with kids that they're unaccomplished.
Right.
That everything that the life path that they have been doing means nothing if they're not, this is something or this is somebody. And that's not cool. And that's not true. You know what I'm saying? Not at all. I'm an example. I mean, my life isn't over yet, so I don't know. I may have children in the future. I may get married in the future. I don't know. By no means at 34 and is my life unfulfilled because I don't have those things. Used to feel that way.
Right.
I definitely used to feel them. You know what I'm saying? But I have a purpose and I'm living there.
Because that again goes back to us living according to society standards and what society has deemed as norm and as, you know what I'm saying, the right way to do or what success looks like. And we have to start redefining that and reshaping, like, and creating our own level and measure of success. You know, like define our own merit, for our lives and what our standards are for, success and things of that nature, and stop trying to live up to somebody else's standards, because we'll never like achieve them. Like we'll never completely 100% achieve our own. So why not focus on reaching the standard that you're setting for yourself, as opposed to the one that somebody else is telling you should be trying to accomplish, because you out of your lane, you're out of your limits. You know what I'm saying? Like you got to get in inner limits. Like that used to be one of them little like sci-fi shows that came on. You know what I'm saying? Like the outer limits, but we got to get into the inner limits. Because we stay out too much.
It all starts with self. At the end of the day, all of this, whether it be you are heterosexual, sapiosexual, homosexual, it all starts with self. It's all about understanding self, and that's where inner peace comes from.
Mm-hmm.
That's where success comes from. That's where comes from. Just being in tune with who you are. And when you're in tune with who you are, what other people think doesn't matter. So that will stop the, like, for instance, with me. Like, I'm super duper black, all of that, all about my African spirituality and all of that stuff. But I can still roll in other, groups and, other circles. And I don't have to just walk around, oh, black, 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 black. I don't have to act like that around, around other people, because I am who I am. That's how
Hey,
how I speak.
big
I don't have
facts.
to, I don't have to overly do that, because I'm in tune with who I am. I have no reason to have to overly show you who I am. Only people that do that are still trying to figure themselves out. You trying to tell yourself who you are, not me.
Right. Because even though I'm kind of a big deal, like I act so basic. Like I be trying to be in the shadows as much as possible. It's like, but it's like, and it's exactly what you say though. Like even when we walk into rooms, because you've taken that time with yourself, and because you're confident in who you are and what you represent, because representation does matter. Like people will automatically like gravitate towards you if they're supposed to gravitate towards you. People will automatically like respect you in your position just as a being, like regardless, like head covered, uncovered. Like when people see me come through, they like everything just shifted and changed. Like, even today, I was holding a conversation with these people. Some of them I work with, they've seen me around, you know what I'm saying? Others didn't know me from a fly on the wall, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, yeah, I think you need to go in, like do a cleanse for them and help them get their auras and chakras together. And I'm just sitting there like, you don't know nothing about me, bro. Who are you? And she just like, well, when the universe and God is this, and I was just like, yeah, today's one of those days. You know what I'm saying? Like,
And I'm gonna say one last thing with myself about this, and yeah, we could talk for 2 hours. We can end, right? With myself. You know what I'm saying? Like as an amputee, just like the homosexual community, there's a whole amputee community. They have their own names and all that too. You got your uppers, your lower knee this, and there's different sizes and stumps and things of that nature, and that's how they identify themselves. Like you guys with you, I'm a lesbian, I'm gay, I'm queer, I'm this, I'm a bottom, I'm a top.
right, you got your chubby chasers. You got, you know what I'm saying? Like,
They got all of that stuff there. But I identify myself as a human. So I don't overly push me being an amputee. As a matter of fact, in the wintertime, if I got on a coat and stuff like that, you won't know I'm an amputee unless I tell you. Most people don't notice my arm when they meet me, because I don't lead with little mom. I am a person. I am a rod. That's who I present to myself. When I was in Flint, Michigan, we had saw this professional female boxer while we were out there. I believe she was from Michigan, Flint, so she was out there competing, I think. So giving people a firm handshake. Everybody that she met, gave her and shake my hand, and she felt a little disrespected because I gave her my left hand instead of mine. Because it's supposed to be your right hand is the way you're supposed to shake. That's the way it's supposed to go. But because I was just with people, you know what I'm saying? I shook her hand and she just kind of mumbled under her breath and let me hear like that was the wrong hand and went home. So when she rolled back, you know what I'm saying? I said to her because I didn't want to think I disrespected her. So I was like, well, I'm sorry, but this is the only hand I had to give you. And she looked at me and looked down and she was like, yo, I'm so sorry, grabbed my hand and started shaking it again. It's like, yo, I didn't even notice that. I am so sorry. I'm like, no, it's so sorry. It's actually a good thing that you didn't know. Because everyone sees me as a person. They don't see me as an amputee. And I would like our homosexual brothers to understand that. You want people to see you as a person. Your sexual orientation comes second to who you actually are. Just be you. Just be a person. You only get to understand that's all you need to be.
That's it.
You don't have to just identify, with your sexual preference. You know what I'm saying? That kind of issue in a lot of ways because people are prejudiced. People do have their own thoughts.
Right.
So if you lead with just yourself, no one's going to worry about it.
Right. That's like, even though we're women, it's not like, oh yeah, I'm a woman and my name is Jaffe. You know what I'm saying? Or I'm, like, no, it's that first. Like you say, I'm a being first. And those are attributes or qualities or traits or characteristics that help to make me who I am. However, you know what I'm saying? It's not like, oh, well, I'm a radio personality. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. Like, it's just weird. It's.
Now, we gotta get yourself, and I think that's what this is really all about. It's really about getting yourself and understanding you.
Yeah.
Understand you. You tend to have the perception to want to understand others because you have to put yourself in other people's shoes. How would I feel if someone was coming at the way I do things? I personally feel like the way I do things. How would I feel if someone kept telling me who I am?
Right.
How would you feel about that?
Right. And it's because we put such a major emphasis on it. You know what I'm saying? And kind of like I said on the show earlier, and we can wrap this up. But I was talking about how families, right? Because I saw one of the sisters earlier in the comments was like she's worried about raising her kids. You know what I'm saying? Her kids growing up in this world. Don't be nervous. You know what I'm saying? Like, your children are gonna be who your children are supposed to be. And all we can do as parents, as guides, as leads, is to make sure that they know who they are. You know what I'm saying? For themselves, regardless of what that looks like sexually, like they know who they are, they know what their purpose is, and that we give them the tools and resources needed to fulfill their purpose, right? And so it's like, we have these children and we are nervous for them and we love them. And we nowadays it's like, oh no, my child better not grow up being like that. But I remember when it was like, oh, I just want my child to come here happy, healthy, with 10 fingers and 10 toes. You know what I'm saying? With all of his organs and stuff intact. And now it's like, oh, I want my baby to come out straight. Like, what? Like, what? Why does that matter? Oh, if my child was ever to be like, bro, this is an extension of you. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is a manifestation of you. This is a reflection of you. Like, this is your energy. This is your blood. This is you. So you're gonna tell me that you're not gonna love this part of yourself if for whatever reason one day they grow up and decide that they want to do something outlandish with their sexual organs. Like, I don't. And at one point in time, it was like I saw myself in that same boat. However, as I learn and as I grow as a spiritual being, you know what I'm saying, in this physical world, is that, hey man, Like, people are gonna be who people are. But I'm not gonna deny my child love and affection and just me as their mother because this is what I produce. Like, whether it's some type of chemical imbalance, whether it's some type of mental something, whether it was some type of social exposure, whatever the case may be, like, we gonna work through this together because we're family and this is what we do. Like, and you're gonna know, like, hey, it's okay to be yourself. It's okay to be you.
That would eliminate a lot of the stuff that people don't like. Again, if you accept most of them that are very flamboyant is because they don't have anybody to love them for who they are, so they have to love themselves and they have to overly show that. So again, let people be who they are. And again, I would say too, what you think about most is what you manifest. So if you're a heterosexual, you should not be concerned too much with what homosexuals are doing. If that's on your mind, you're going to manifest that into your life.
In some shape, form, or fashion. It's going to come to life.
Chill in that way. Because you're so homophobic, you just so, I say all the time, don't be anti, be pro. When you are anti something, you are asking for it. You are telling the universe that's what you want. Because you keep talking about it. And you keep thinking about it. If that's not your lifestyle, that shouldn't cross your mind like that. And again, it says a lot about you. It's what I'm saying. If you are heterosexual, you're so homophobic about that. 9.5 times out of 10, you've got tendencies. The things that we don't like in others are reflections of what's inside of us. That is a fact. That is nature. So, if you are steadfast, in who you are, you should not be worried about how people are telling on yourself. You are cosmically telling on yourself. Everything that I get angry about is an insecurity or something that, you know what I'm saying? And I recognize that. That's why I got no issues, you know what I'm saying, with the LGBTQ community. I have no issues with that because I know who I am.
Right.
Part of the dance group, I was the only heterosexual. Everybody else was lesbian. I was the only heterosexual dancer in there. And it was no problem because they understood me. They knew who I was. I knew who they was. I wasn't about that shit, so they didn't come with me with that. They just respected that I was a dancer and I was, you know what I'm saying, from the neighborhood and all of that. They respected, you know what I'm saying, who I was because I knew who I was. I'm gonna tell you this one little last story and then we're gonna go. So, girl, dance group. I was in a dance group one time. We had it was after practice, and a friend of mine, she knew a couple of people that was in I'm gonna say the sexual industry, and they were not porn stars. So I'll just say that.
Okay.
They was in the sex industry. Okay. So one of the women was there. I was there, kind of just putting some stuff together for the dance. This is my homegirl's personal situation going on, and the girl was trying to size me up. She wanted to pretty much teach me to get into the game. Right? Yeah.
She was going to initiate you, Plump.
She was. You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't even about being homosexual. It was honestly about being, you know what I'm saying? What do they call them? Homosexual prostitution. You know what I'm saying? She thought I was young or whatever.
Oh, like sex workers.
Yeah, like it was that type of thing. It wasn't even about being homosexual. Now they had to do that. Yeah. So she thought I was cute. She thought I was young. I think that she was watching me dance, so she see I got moves, so all I gotta do is get in her head and you know what I'm saying, or whatever. Yeah, see, people that I was around me that, you know what I'm saying, peeped that and shut that all the way down. She was like, yo, leave her alone.
Right, oh man, shut it.
Leave her alone.
Right.
She's not about that. And I'm just sitting there like,
what I do?
yeah, what was that? You know what I'm
Right.
Because I know who I am and I exude that. So that is what I'm going to leave everybody with. Be yourself.
Right.
And get in tune with yourself. None of these issues will mean anything or even matter if you were in tune with yourself. You wouldn't care about what people think about you.
Right.
They lead with being. You know what I'm saying? Let people love you and care about you for being a being, not being gay, being a lesbian, being this, or being heterosexual, or being an amputee, or you know what I'm saying? Whatever it is, let people and show people who you are as a being.
Righteous.
Literally, this is the shell. This
Yeah.
is the shell. Who you are is your soul. That's who you truly are. So focus on that.
I agree.
Any last words?
Yeah. In the words of one of my college homies, like, go where you're celebrated, not where you're tolerated. You know, point blank, period, straight like that. Once you get in tune with yourself, you love yourself, you know yourself, you free yourself. Like, go where you're celebrated, not where you tolerated. You know, like point blank, period.
I love that. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this conversation. Appreciate you giving me all the time and energy. We've been on here for hours. Love, y'all. And we're going to come back with this divine feminine discussion where Inspiration CTV and Voices Radio collide. We love y'all.
Peace, love, divine light.
And y'all have a good one. We out.
Peace.